Well, hello and welcome. My name is Velma. You can connect with me at velmanolds.com. This is all about your leadership chat. What does that mean? You get to listen in on valuable insights from valuable leaders just like you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if this is of value to you, please share the nuggets that you're going to take away from all these great leaders. Hey, please give a big welcome to my special guest and your valuable leader, Cindi Harris. Hey, Cindi, welcome to your leadership chat.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Excited.
Oh, I'm excited too. Thank you so much for making the time. I know schedules throw us off a little bit, but we have landed this plane, you and I, today. So, Cindi, I wanted to start off with you telling the listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name's Cindi Harris. I am married. I have 3 kids, all through college and all of that. So they live all across the country in different places. We live in Colorado. We moved here a little over 8 years ago from
Okay.
California. Absolutely love it.
Right.
And I have been a residential real estate valuation appraiser for 30 plus years. So primarily my career has been in the valuation space and mortgage.
Right.
I would say for the last 15 years or so, I've had either senior or executive level leadership roles,
Yeah.
which is really, I'm definitely passionate about valuation, but I'm equally, if not more so, passionate about leadership
Yeah.
and really helping young, high potential leaders and just we need better leadership in the world in general. And so that's really kind of my driving force, as I move forward in my
Yeah.
roles and space in the world, I guess.
Yeah, no, and you do so well. You share a lot of great content on the social media platforms. I know LinkedIn, I follow you, and it was through a mutual colleague that we got connected. So I'm so excited about that because then I get to learn from your wisdom too. um, okay, well, let me start off by asking you. You know that I talk about valuable leaders, and that's why I thought you would have such great insight to share. But valuable leaders to me are individuals that come into our life and they just make this tremendous impact. And the impact can be positive and that's what we hope for, but it also can be negative. I know I've experienced that, and but there's lessons that we learn from all of them. And so I would love for you to share who is a valuable leader in Cindi's life, and why would you say that about that person or more than one person?
That's it's a hard question, but it's not. I mean, because there are definitely, multiple leaders in my life who have been very valuable.
Sure.
One that stands out and he's in the valuation space as well. We were partners, entrepreneurs in a business back in 2009 to 2014,
Right.
and I learned so much from him. I mean, so quickly about him, he's definitely a man of faith, family,
Right.
integrity, just an all around great person, and
Hmm.
always willing to give back and to help others. And I think I had to get across, the maturity line in some respects back then in relation to kind of trying to control things or take everything on my shoulders. It was my team,
Right.
my company, and that wasn't true, right? It was
Right.
our team and our company, and it was a team, and it wasn't all on my shoulders. And I
Hmm.
think he helped me to see how important in leadership it is, the collaboration is, and
Hmm.
the curiosity is, and that's
Sure.
something we talked about today on LinkedIn actually, because I think I overlooked some of those things. And when you're younger too, you think you kind of know everything, and you really don't. And
Right.
those were those are some other, parts of what I think, he taught me as a leader.
Hmm.
Forever grateful
Yeah.
for all of his modeling, right, of really great behaviors.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, because when you say great behaviors, modeling those behaviors, I'd love to know. This is me off script. I told you this could happen, but I'd love to know maybe one or two of those behaviors um, that you still today, carry them with you. What would they be?
I think showing up, right?
Mm,
When someone needs help,
yeah.
not just saying, let me know if you need help, but
Mhm.
really showing up and really giving that help and walking side by side and giving the advice,
Mm,
showing the insight, even not just in the leadership space or side of things, but even technically, right, in the valuation pieces, just teaching and training and giving, right? He always willing to give
yeah.
time. I think that's huge.
Yeah. Wow.
Because then people trust you when it's doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, being a person of good character that you stand by your word, and that's beautiful. I love that. So there was me off script. But okay, so Cindy, take us a little bit more into knowing what a valuable leader is. You had that example in your life, and you know that you have to show up in order to really help people move up and move your company up in the organization. So help us understand, how does Cindy today pay it forward? How do you pay it forward so that you help other people become the valuable leader that's inside of them?
I think very similar to what I just described. It's making the time,
Hmm.
for others, and then truly doing what you say you're going to do.
Mm,
Because you want to have trust. I think in having a cohesive team, you need trust as the foundational level for that. If
right.
you create that safety, then people feel, you know, uh, safe and comfortable in asking questions and challenging and bringing new ideas and
Hmm.
trying to create that environment
Yeah.
and, and really trying to teach that it's about us and creating that kind of reciprocal partnership or relationship.
Hmm.
It's not just about what's in this for me. You don't want to start that way. You want to start with what can I give you and how can I build a relationship, whether it's your, the people on your team or leadership above you. It doesn't really matter who
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
is. The kind of the rules are the same, right? In
Sure.
terms of uh, giving first and being curious about where other people are coming from, trying to understand. I know I'm throwing out all kinds of different things, but I've got the feels over this in terms of really you you receive in giving, right? You
Yeah.
get back and learn by what you put out.
Yeah. You actually get more by giving than by receiving.
Yes.
I hear you say that, and I know you do that because I see it out there. You mentioned the word curiosity, and that was something you shared this morning as a challenge, or just like a bold statement about the power of being curious. And I remember you actually prompted in me this just this leadership thought to share, and I put it out there on social media on your post that I truly believe curiosity is the foundation for learning. I mean, it's essential. It's how you learn. You have to be curious. And so, in your leadership capacity, because I know that you have, you know, um, 3 decades of experience in leading people, and leading projects as well. But how do you leverage curiosity in a sense where you say, I need to show up, and we get more when we give than we receive? How does curiosity, you think, play into that for Cindy, the leader, the valuable leader you?
And it's something I think I can continue to work on and get better at, definitely, because
We all can.
I think sometimes it comes from insecurities, right? Sometimes it's
Ah,
sometimes it's from being a woman in a, more of a male dominated space.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just, insecurity in general.
Right.
You you find yourself listening to come back with a intelligent answer, or how can I respond to this and
Mm.
be looked at in a good way, instead of listening to say, oh, tell me more about that,
Mm.
going deeper and
Right.
asking those open-ended questions, so that you're approaching the whole conversation differently. You're approaching it not to prove something, you're
Right.
approaching it to learn something. And
Mm.
flipping your mind when you go into it, and it's practice. I think you have to practice all of these behaviors, because I think we both said earlier, right, we're definitely not perfect, and every day is, you just try and get a little bit better, or learn one new thing, or
Right. Right.
do something a little better than you did yesterday.
Oh yeah, and I love how you said you enter conversations with individuals, and we all have fallen into this trap, and I even know sometimes I continuously catch myself and say, "Wait a minute, don't be processing what you're going to say next. Just pause and then lean in and listen. And like you said, apply that curiosity. Like, tell me more. Or what do you mean by that? So you're prompting and priming the pump because you have that mindset. And I love how you said it. And I may botch it up, but Cindi said it best. So rewind if you want it. But you talked about not going in to prove your point, but going in to learn, their point of view, their point of view, and learning from that, and then adding on to it. That's how we build together and grow together. I love that, and that was very bold and vulnerable of you to say insecurities, because it is so true. We tend to, not be curious, or we struggle in our leadership to connect better because of this level of insecurity. We feel like we have to be right as the leader. We have to have the answer, and it's not necessarily true. you know, it's a learning and growing together. So I love that. I love that about what you said. Um, and so, what would you say is the biggest, I guess, learning point, or that I guess the way I would want to ask is, because I'm really curious, like, your defining moment. What was it that you said, hey, this is a defining moment for Cindi, and I need to see leadership, and I want to help other people lead better.
Oh gosh, defining moment. There's probably been
She said moments.
and uh, but I think really through failures,
Mm.
because another thing I've had to work through over time, besides control, which we don't really have any, and
That's for a different recording.
I guess it's just the perfectionism, and
Yeah.
knowing that failure's normal,
Mm.
learning is normal.
Yeah.
uh, it's a gift to learn,
Yeah.
instead of when you fail and learn something new,
Yeah.
it's not this terrible thing, it's a gift. And
Yeah.
so you look at it that way, it can be just devastating sometimes.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
when you live in a world of trying to reach a certain bar and you don't reach it,
Mhm.
just looking at that, just reframing that, I think is
Yeah.
probably part of the defining moments over the last years.
Yeah. Yeah, you're spot on. I remember tripping up myself so much, thinking that I was doing the right thing to be a good leader, and I was just falling all over myself. And I didn't understand why. And I think that's like the blind spots that we go through, and until we realize that you're going to fail, and failure's a part of your learning, and so accept that. I think was it Albert Einstein that you talked about on your quote today that you shared out there. Yeah, I mean, you're going to fail, and it's okay to fail. In fact, if you're I would challenge and encourage listeners, if you're not failing, then you're in a comfort zone and you're stuck and you're not growing. In fact, you're not even staying where you are.
Mhm.
You're becoming further and further in your decline because the world doesn't stay where it is and then you grow to catch up or whatever. The world continues to grow. So if you're not doing that, you're actually falling behind. Um, but failure, it's okay to chase failure. It's okay to fail as
We
long as you learn from it.
for definitely.
Don't keep doing it over and over because that's insanity, right? And that what he says.
That is it's for sure. I think we just witnessed a lot of that in
Mm,
in watching the Olympics.
yeah.
We look at those athletes,
Yeah, right.
definitely had to fall
Mhm.
and, be short, on time or distance or whatever it is, but they clearly kept going
Yeah.
and, you know, were, an amazing example for everyone about what it looks like to fail and keep trying.
Yeah. Oh, and that's such a great example and so current. All of these Olympians that spend so much time preparing for that one event, um, and everyone's going to run the race or jump or swim or whatever that activity, sports activity is. They're going to run their race in that, but not everyone is going to win in the definition of what a winner is for that for the Olympics. But everyone wins because if you get to the Olympics, you, I mean, come on, you're a winner, just because you're there. Yeah, okay, great. So I love that. You really hit on some big bombs to think about. Show up and realize that you will get more when you give. And sometimes we don't want to be curious because we're just insecure in ourselves and feeling we've got to have the right answer, and that's not the case. And I just love where you took us on the fact of defining moments for you have been moments of when you failed and realized, you know what, there's a learning here, and you took the learning and you applied it so that you could be better. And that's a great takeaway for all of us. So, folks are going to say, okay, great. Well, Cindi had valuable leaders in her life that showed up and that modeled the way, if you will. And then, you're encouraging that by asking people to do the same, but also to be one that is curious. So, I would love for you to share what you would say. You have all these people listening. So, what would be one big takeaway on your heart that if you could tell people listening in that want to be a better leader in their life, they want to be that valuable leader that they know they can be, what would that big takeaway be for you to encourage them?
I think I would encourage them to really look at where they want to go, right? First, kind of look at where they want to be, and then align themselves with people who share similar values or really strong values that will come alongside of them
Yeah,
and walk them through some of the processes to get to that place. I think that means really focusing again, I don't want to belabor this, but really coming back to curiosity, especially when you want to learn and grow
hmm,
as a leader,
sure.
is that being open to new ideas and different things. And
Hmm.
sometimes we'll come across, I think it's a big hurdle, is when we come across times when we disagree
Yeah,
with other people.
right.
How do you navigate and how being able to navigate those things, but
Hmm.
using curiosity to do so?
Mm,
Because when you ask questions of the person you're disagreeing with, uh, then you might be able to find the common thread that you
yeah,
could use to build a solution on.
right.
I don't want to use the word compromise because I think it's more than that.
Hmm. I agree.
Deeper understanding. I mean, you can just agree, to compromise, but
Right,
it's a deeper understanding of the other person's position
right,
because then you're getting to know these other people better. You're exercising some empathy. You're
right.
increasing your knowledge, And so I think that's really the crux of getting better as a leader, is being really, really open
Mm.
to
Yeah.
other perspectives.
Yeah.
And let's be real too. I mean, there are some times when the CEO is going to say, "This is what we need to do," because it's just
Yes.
what we need to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not always this, let's sit down and hash everything out, but learning how to do that in
Hmm.
a really good, healthy way, I
Sure.
is a big takeaway for all of us as leaders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you really opened up the dialogue there because leaders are supposed to make decisions and solve problems. But it's not a like, I solve the problem and I make the decision. It's I get input from others, and that's the curiosity side of it, so that I can better solve the problem. We can solve it together, and then I can make the decision on that. And it's like when you said it, it reminded me of like when you have to go to a surgeon, right? And you got to get, I probably didn't say that too good, but when you have to go to have surgery, right? You don't want the doctor to just say, well, you know what, I'm just gonna, before I cut you open or while I have you open here, I'm gonna go ask everybody, what do they all think, what should we do? They're going to do a lot of that prep work. They're going to ask ahead of time. Maybe they have to consult with another doctor. Maybe they're going to have to get a bunch of tests done, right, to gather data. But then that's how they solve the problem. And then they go in when they make the decision's been made. So it's so true. It can be applied to any profession. It can be applied to firefighters or airplane pilots. There's a moment of truth. You got to make the decision, but before you get there, you want to pre-decide, is what I would like to encourage us to do. Pre-decide on what you are going to do by being curious, by getting input, like you said.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. That's so good. Thank you. That's a great big takeaway for us. And I love you for sharing that with us. So, Cindi, tell folks how they can learn about you a little bit more, follow you, find you. You drop some really good learning nuggets. So I selfishly, follow you and learn from you, and that's why I kind of twisted your arm and said, please come on and share some with listeners here on Your Leadership Chat. But how would you say is the best way to kind of follow you, learn more what you do?
I think LinkedIn is really the best place. I spend you know some time there, daily, weekly, and so it's Cindi with an I,
Yeah,
Harris.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's the best place. I'm really responsive, so if anyone wanted to reach out, I can get back to you there. But I will say that I follow all of your content, which is
Mm,
very uplifting and inspiring, and I really appreciate
yeah.
it very much. So
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that too. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time so much, and giving to us. I think, in this case, we might have got more than you received, but I hope that people will, if folks that you're listening in, check Cindi out. Go to LinkedIn, Cindi with an I, Cindi Harris. I'll put her LinkedIn address for you in the show notes, so you go and check it out, because she really does share some valuable insights, some things that will challenge you to think differently, and good engagement from the folks that are following her. So I would encourage you to do that and learn from Cindi. I'm telling you, you'll get more than you give. So yeah, so thanks again, Cindi. I really appreciate you and your time.
thank you very much.
Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat. Bye for now.